Hello and welcome to another edition of the United View. I'm Ben, who usually hosts this massive fun-filled nonsense of the United show. And tonight I've got a feeling that we're going to get even more nonsense, even more fun, and especially the ranting as well. We'll get onto that, even though the guys on our panel certainly do not talk nonsense. Half of the stuff we do is more or less nonsense. On the panel tonight, we welcome back our regulars. Tom Doyle's with us. Tom, thank you for coming on, mate.
Cheers, always good to be back, mate.
It's good to have you with us. Also on this show this evening, another one of our regulars, Shaun. It's good to have you with us.
Hiya, Ben. You've kept me waiting for 4 hours. Can we get on with it?
Yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? Also on the show tonight, George is back. George, thank you for coming on fresh from your review, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And very excited about having this man on. You love a rant from him, and we love a rant from him too. Steve, thank you for coming on, mate. Are you all riled?
Pleasure as always, mate. Yeah. Thanks for having me again.
No problem at all. Right, shall we get straight into it? Looks like tonight's show's going to be a bit of a fun one. And we'll start with a calming voice, shall we? Tom, what did you make of that? I mean, we saw the team sheet and there wasn't really anything to complain about, was there?
Yeah, like you say, I mean, we've been complaining over the last weeks and months about the lineup of Van Gaal, you know, who he picks, what formation they play in, but going away to West Ham, you know, a lot of teams have struggled there this season, but 4-4-2, I mean, with Di Maria, Januzaj out on the flanks, Blind, Rooney, two strikers, I mean, couldn't really ask for more, except that it just obviously didn't work in practice until the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that final 20 minutes did see us score. So, Shaun, we'll have a bit of confidence and a bit of positivity at first. Brilliant goal from Blind, wasn't it?
Oh, fantastic. I think every neighbour I've got knew that we'd scored. It was just, yeah, I'd already settled myself that we were going to lose 1-0. That was it. I'd almost switched it off, if I'm quite honest. But there was just that something that, you know, just keeps you watching United. We always play until the end, even though recently, most of the season we sort of haven't been able to kill it off in the last few minutes. We haven't attacked as United of old and basically played Fergie time. Today we did. It almost seemed like the last 20 minutes was Fergie time. But we couldn't find our right feet, our left feet, heads, whatever was needed. We just couldn't get them in order to, you know, sort of put the game to sleep, really.
Yeah, which is obviously the shame. George, we'll come over to you. Should we start with the first half? I mean, it was a bit of an even game, wasn't it, towards the first 25? However, West Ham looked like the side which were more likely to break the deadlock. One positive for me from the first 25 minutes was Antonio Valencia. He just seemed to win the tackles and the one-on-ones, despite being out of position now and then with Phil Jones, and despite not really offering anything upfield. What did you make of the first half?
I mean, the first half, it was good, to be honest with you. I thought, you know, at the start of the game, I thought West Ham would look the better, you know, I thought they looked the better team, and I thought they would have, if we could survive that first sort of 10 to 15 minutes of their sort of constant pressure, I think we might have sort of gone on to sort of nick a goal. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but, you know, I was very impressed with Antonio Valencia today. I thought he was very good. His crossing was a lot better, and maybe Paddy McNair playing right back on the in the last game maybe gave him a kick up the backside that he actually needed.
Yeah, and of course, maybe now we might actually see him practicing. He's probably practiced his defending. He looked like better in defence. Maybe now he will practice his crossing. I said to Steve before we came on, if he had 1% of David Beckham in him, Valencia, he would be all right, just all right. But unfortunately, he just cannot do anything attackingly, can he? Steve, so the first half was all right, I suppose. Was there any niggly bits in there for you?
The performance wasn't great again, mate, but the only, I think, half decent thing was it was 0-0. I mean, I was saying all week it's going to be a tight game, a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that if United are going to nick it, and the first half wasn't great, mate. You know what I mean? And there's no, you can't pick out anything brilliant from Man United, really. Like you say, I think Valencia defensively, oddly enough, he was challenging, looked brilliant going forward. You wouldn't think he used to be a winger for us for about 3-4 years. You know what I mean? It's just mad, mate. You know what I mean? I can't say any more in the first half, to be honest.
Yeah, it was one of those. We looked like we was warming into the game, but it also looked West Ham looked quite dangerous, like they did at Old Trafford. Tom, obviously the second half didn't start particularly well. It looks like the West Ham goal got a slight deflection from what I can remember of it. I tried not to watch the goal again. De Gea was brilliant all game again. Not really a chance with that deflection, was there? But however, we were poor from crosses all game, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, going to West Ham, as I say before, they've been great this season. You know, people can criticise Allardyce all they want for a particular brand of football, but he's managed to adapt his tactics to play any side. I mean, he plays, long ball when it suits him. He plays a passing game when it suits him. And today, obviously, targeted United in the air, and we came off second best, on the goal. But I think we grew into the game as it went on in the second half. I mean, we improved. I think we all saw in the last 20 minutes, especially from the introduction of Fellaini, the United that we wanted to see. It might not have been pretty, but they got the job done in the end, and it's nice to see us scoring late goals again. We scored earlier in the season against Chelsea with a late goal. It's nice to see United scoring late goals like that again, but I think it's almost too little too late, because that's another 2 points dropped. Yeah,
2 points dropped and 1 point gained, I said at the end of that, in terms of that we should have gone out there and got the 3 points. However, at the end of it, we've gained a point. It's really weird, that one. Shaun, we tried to give it attacking wise. As we said, the starting lineup was probably as attacking as we could go with Januzaj, Di Maria, Rooney, Van Persie, Falcao. 3 number 10s in a 4-man midfield. I mean, it doesn't get any more attacking than that, and we did push them. However, one player who really got on my nerves today, actually, I'm going to be completely honest, was Angel Di Maria. He just didn't show up, did he? Is that too harsh? For me, he didn't do anything that game. He proved he cannot play on a cold day in London, for me.
I think he had a shot in the first half, and I think that's about it. I think that was as much as he'd done. So going back a little bit before the game itself, had I have been on the preview that you've done for the game, I think I probably would have gone for a draw. I would have been happy with a point, knowing that Liverpool have gone there and lost. I think it was 3-1. City have gone there and they've lost 2-1. Allardyce is a good manager in the respect that he's got an organised team. Wherever he's been, he's always had an organised. I can always remember Bolton giving us jip as well. We do seem to have had a lot of success over West Ham over the years, but there's been certain times when it's not been easy. I think when they came to us, I think we won 2-1 maybe, but I believe that was sort of like a bit of a fluke at the end. I can't recall the game at the moment, but it was a tough game. So before the game, I probably would have taken the point. And on that display we've seen today, I think a point is all we actually deserved. First half, at half-time, I was relieved that it was still 0-0. That it was, I don't think there was any point in that half that we looked as if we were going to score, considering we had all those attacking players on the pitch. I thought Luke Shaw and Januzaj looked good going down the left. They looked to link up quite well. And obviously the second half, obviously it was 70-something minutes when we brought Fellaini on. Something needed to change, and he'd waited that long. Yes, when West Ham scored, it seemed to wake us up. It was like a button had been pressed, and that we actually had to play then. Up until that moment, they just had no passion, no. It was like they couldn't be bothered. It was a cold London. It was a cold afternoon in London. The West Ham scored.
And you say they can't be bothered. You say they can't be bothered. It's worrying that the fact that second place would have been 3 points away, Shaun.
Absolutely. It's almost as if Van Gaal has a target of 4th place in the league, and he is going to secure 4th place in the league. There was no. It seems to me that every time this season we've had a chance to gain on the teams around us, or to pull away from those that are just behind, i.e. your Liverpools, your Arsenals, who both dropped points the weekend. City obviously dropped points. Southampton, I think, got a late winner, didn't they? So obviously they went back ahead. So we really could have, in that respect, it was a must-win today. Obviously, every game is a must-win. We need the 3 points from every game. But today there was just that little bit of emphasis because of everybody around us had dropped points. So it would have been so nice if we could have, and it's been the same all season. Everybody, those around us dropped points. We've dropped points. And it's just so frustrating in that respect. That, yeah, second place would have been 3 points away. We'd have been back in third position, not comfortably, because obviously Southampton are right breathing down our necks. But it was there. I don't understand. I put a tweet out with about 7 or 8 minutes of normal time to go. Can someone just jog my memory? Have we actually had more than the one substitution? Because I could only remember Fellaini coming on, and we needed a goal, and yet he brought one substitute on. It's not like we've got a game tomorrow or the next day. It's a few days away until our next game. Why was there no urgent? I've seen people saying bring Wilson on like at half time. The front guys aren't getting any service. I'm not quite sure what difference Wilson would have made. Personally, I'd have brought Pereira on into midfield and moved Rooney up front and took Van Persie off.
Well, what we'll do, we'll come back and we'll talk about substitutions in just a bit because I'm as confused as you are. But there's his Shaun rant, everybody, not a happy bunny. However, I do agree. At the start of the match, you kind of say Upton Park, always difficult, might even take a point there. However, in terms of what this game means for the season, especially with the run-up after February, it gets difficult. Difficult as it could get. I mean, you need them 3 points, didn't you? Sticking on Di Maria at the moment. Top Gamer says Di Maria was truly awful. Jordan says that the away performances need to be as good as home. Gregory says Di Maria had a poor game today. Hate saying it, but he's never worth 60 million. Another comment from Top Gamer. Draxler here, George. Draxler Plays says the only reason that Rooney hasn't been dropped yet is because he's captain. So, George, on Di Maria, obviously, we all agree he's not playing well at the moment. He's not playing up to his price tag. On Angel Di Maria, for you, do you reckon the only thing keeping him in the team is that price tag?
I think it's a difficult subject. I mean, we all know what Di Maria is about. We all know what qualities he's got, the capabilities that this guy brings to a team. And the Di Maria that we see at Real Madrid was one of the best players in the world. But currently, right now at Man United, he's probably... Well, I mean, he's nowhere near that standard, and I think I'm not entirely sure what it is that needs to happen, whether or not he's still adjusting to life in Manchester and still adapting to a new team and formation and different players around him, but something needs to change, and it needs to happen fast. But as the price tag is keeping him in the team, I think it's probably his name as well, because we all know what he's, that little bit of magic is, he's very, very capable of doing.
It's weird, though, because it does feel like a place in the team is being held up. Herrera could be getting that chance, just like we keep saying about Wayne Rooney. I mean, Steve, George has summed it up there. He's a world-class player. The Di Maria we saw at Madrid last season, especially in the Champions League final, was unplayable. Why isn't he performing for United? Why isn't he playing for Van Gaal?
Right, you've got me on Di Maria, mate. I'm going. This isn't having a go at you guys, right? But all I've seen all day is 60 million. He isn't worth it. He hasn't done this at Man United. He did this at Real Madrid. Guys, we are not Real Madrid. Look at the players he was playing with. Ronaldo, Benzema, Marcelo, Xabi Alonso threading balls through. Who have we got? Evans, Smalling, Rooney in centre midfield. Guys, they're not good enough. I said weeks ago, Di Maria's been set up to fail. Di Maria needs a free role in this Man United side. He isn't getting it. Nobody's getting it. It's just a mismatch of players. Just Di Maria is going to be played out of position. I'll bring Rooney in because I think he skulls in midfield. Falcao and RVP up top. It isn't working. Di Maria, mate, is an unbelievable player. I know you keep seeing is Sanchez. I'd rather have him. Sanchez went to Arsenal and Arsenal went, you're the main man. You miles better than what we've got. You go and do what you do and I'll defend that way. And it works. Chelsea settled for Hazard. Willian does about 15 miles a game. Matic protecting the back four. Fabregas looks for Hazard. Hazard will create something. Costa will score. We haven't got that. This Di Maria is shit. this Di Maria's that, he isn't worth 60 million. Mate, we're not Real Madrid. We aren't even in the Champions League. We finished 7th last season. You know what I mean? How can we say that he isn't doing what he is for Real Madrid? You'd imagine not. Can he be doing a bit better? Yeah, I actually do think he can. So I think a few of you got a point. But, mate, the system isn't helping him. The system is not helping him. We have not been playing good football all season, mate. The Falcao was another one. Yeah, he missed a great chance today. I'm not even going to hide it. Brilliant chance. Falcao should be burying that. But
yeah,
how many clear-cut chances have we created for him in months, mate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm not having a go at you guys. But it's been touched on with Di Maria, mate. But to slag Di Maria, mate, off for 6-7 months. He had his house burgled. Tried to have his house burgled a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean? And he's still trying to take players on for this club. And he's still trying to create stuff. He gets kicked down. He gets back up again. It's a fantastic attitude, mate. He'll be worth every penny, mate. I've got absolute no doubt. But United need to sort out what system's going to be going, who's going to be playing where, and let's get going. But Di Maria, mate's class. World class.
He's class. He's class. But he's not showing it. He's not showing it at the moment. And a few people are saying...
Yeah, but no one else says, mate. No one else says Rooney. What's Rooney done for us this season, mate?
Oh, don't you worry.
Yeah, he's been playing out of possession. Yeah.
We'll get on to
what I mean? But people leave Rooney out, mate. Why? Because he's the captain and they think he's captain fantastic. I don't think so, mate. We can't just keep slagging Di Maria or Falcao off every week. There's got to be other players, mate. Got to be other players.
Yeah, spot on. And there are a lot of other players. However, you know, in terms of who Di Maria is, his stature, his price tag, he's always going to get the blame. He's always going to be the one who gets spoken about. And to be honest, when he has a very poor game, he doesn't have a poor game. He has the shittest game of his career, because that's how people see it through a microscope. That's what people pick on. And in terms of your comments, you're going with Moho. Hammer turns around and says Di Maria needs to be dropped. What is he doing? Assad says Di Maria should be dropped. Barca dropped Messi last month and he came back better. Could it be used as a little incentive? Gregory says Di Maria could be given a game off and Herrera could be told to show what he does. And Andy says that the reasoning behind Di Maria is maybe Louis van Gaal's tactics. I mean, Louis van Gaal, will get onto him because the manager needs to take some sort of responsibility for what's going on. But, you know, the name was mentioned there from Steve, Tom. You know, obviously we can turn around and say that Di Maria's had a bad game today, but as Steve did say, he tried to create, he was trying to take players on, he was using his pace, he was playing in the position he's told to play, which I'm still debatable whether it is his best position or not. But Falcao is the world's best striker, one of the world's best strikers. He's being paid a lot of money to be at this club. He has a massive reputation. He's got a massive price tag on his head. He's got a point to prove. What the hell happened when he got one-on-one with Adrian?
Well, you know, it's one of those where, I mean, every striker talks about sort of being in the zone. You look at people like Pippo Inzaghi, and it just seemed like whenever he was put through on goal, he wouldn't miss because he had that mentality that he wasn't going to miss. Whereas a lot of strikers, when they're sort of out of that zone, when they've been in and out of the team, when they're not getting a lot of chances, they snatch at chances. And I think that's what we saw from Falcao today. When he got through on goal, he snatched at that chance. And also when he tried to set up Van Persie for the save that the keeper made a couple of minutes afterwards, I think. I mean, he tried a little turn and it didn't come off as well. And although he set up Van Persie for that chance, it just seemed like he was again sort of trying to take the chance too quickly. And I think we're just seeing a striker that's low on confidence. I mean, it doesn't matter how, you know, people will say the price tag and the potential fee we're going to pay and the wages, but for strikers, it's all about confidence. I mean, being paid $5 grand a week or $250 grand a week doesn't matter to a striker. It's all about the confidence and, most importantly, the service he's getting. And I think, I mean, Valencia had a good game defending, but if we're going to use, I think someone put a heat map up today and it showed the players' names in relation to how much of the ball they're getting, and they just put out the word philosophy, and in giant letters, the biggest name on the team was Valencia down the right wing. And I mean, if Van Gaal's philosophy is to effectively give the ball to Valencia, bomb down the right wing and smack it into players' arses, I mean, what is he expecting from Falcao? It doesn't matter who you've got up front. You need the service to the top players. And people can argue, you know, Di Maria is not necessarily providing that service at the moment. But as Steve said, he's had his house burgled. His wife doesn't want to return to the house. He's not homeless because obviously they'll be up in a nice hotel, but you know, there's a lot going on in Di Maria's life. You know, he's adjusting. He's been played up front, back. I think once we get Di Maria settled in midfield in the role he wants with that free role, even at the expense of Rooney, once we get Di Maria settled, then we'll see the real Falcao.
And I've got to say as well, on the Di Maria situation, to be fair, I'm thinking for the last 10 games I've seen him, since he's come back from injury, he's not played well. You shouldn't expect players to play well 2 weeks after injury anyway. You've got to give them a few weeks. I'm also remembering that he was also played out of position for a good few games as well after that. But, you know, he's only started in midfield, the last 2-3 games? So, you know, maybe it's harsh, but you do look through a microscope, don't you? And he was one of the players today who unfortunately didn't set the world on fire when we should have done. Steve, just want to quickly come to you, mate, because you was giggling then when Tom mentioned about the ball being given to Valencia and that being the philosophy. Can you remember any better player we could go through in our team today who we could play our philosophy through? Is Valencia the way forward, Steve?
Well, it's one of them with Ashley Young as well. He sort of turned Ashley Young into an half-decent left wing-back. And it's sort of the same with Valencia. Are them two players in the next 3 years going to win United a European Cup or get to the final, which is where Man United should be aiming to be. They're up there with Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona. That's where United need to be. Them pair aren't good enough, mate, but yeah, in terms of I don't think you can work out the philosophy on today's performances, mate, and probably on a few of the others performances that have already just gone. But yeah,
this is amazing.
I can't say
Sorry,
more, mate.
I've just been sent a stat. Do you know we was talking about long balls? I've just been sent a picture from who is it? It's Kieran, who says obviously out of the 20 Premier League teams, United on 16th in the long passes attempted table. The only teams below us are QPR, West Brom, Leicester and West Ham. Just above us is Burnley. We have attempted 1,861 long passes this season. That's incredible. Wow. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we, with Falcao. Let's keep talking about Falcao. I mean, Shaun, one thing you cannot do with Falcao is find him with a long ball anyway, can you? Unless he is a player who needs the ball at his feet, isn't he? He needs someone to provide the magic for him. He needs that help.
Fact, it's a bit of a difficult one with Falcao. Obviously, he has had that bad injury. He was out for a while. He's not obviously going to have his match fitness, his touch, his blah, and his blah instantly. He's played a few games now. He has got a few goals under his belt. Not as much as any of us thought. And let's go back to when we signed him. We all thought he was going to set the league on fire and he was going to score hat-tricks in every game and stuff like that, especially with Di Maria lining them up for him. And it was just going to be fantastic. He was our saviour. That's how excited were we all when he signed. And that, I think that excitement is now starting to fade, and it's like I like his movement off the ball. He can create the space, but by doing that, he's taking himself out of the equation of having a shot on goal, or when he does actually have a chance to shoot on goal, he's got no confidence, and then he completely fluffs his line, and one-on-one with the keeper almost hits the corner flag. I mean, that's you know, it's an exaggeration, but I mean, if the keeper had got a touch on that one-on-one, then fair enough. Great save by the keeper. The keeper obviously did enough to put him under the pressure to miss kick it to whatever he done, which ultimately is the goalkeeper's job. But the keeper didn't actually make a save. We all say, I mean, you look at the shot that De Gea saved in the first half, and he tipped it over the crossbar. That went down as a good, a good save from De Gea. But it was obviously the shot had to be good for it to be a good save. You could argue that the striker didn't do his job because he missed the goal, but then it's De Gea's job to save it. It's the same with a penalty. It's the same with the penalty. If the striker hits the ball and he misses the penalty because the keeper has saved it, it's always a poor penalty. But then surely it's the keeper's job to save that penalty. So it could be actually a really, really good penalty. It's just that the keeper has excelled himself and done his job and saved it.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, Shaun, just for the people who are maybe watching for the first time, we are not people who just come on and slag the players every week. We pick certain players to talk about, and we've never since the start of the show, I think, properly spoken about Radamel Falcao. We have largely stuck up for him. Most of the time, we've largely spoke positively with him about him, even when he was going through the tough time around Christmas. We still being positive about him. But George, I don't know about you, but I find it hard to be positive about him after today's game. It, for me, in terms of, it just didn't work, did it? It didn't work for him today, and that chance, me or you could have put away. I mean, you definitely could have, but even I could have.
Look, you know what? I think with Falcao, it is when he first signed, it is one of these ones. It set everyone alight. Everyone was sort of like, oh my god, like Falcao's coming to the Premier League and all this sort of stuff. And I think these players, like Di Maria, like Falcao, they've got such a big name, like worldwide. As soon as they have like a bit of a bad game, they have like a bit of a dip in form, it gets picked up on straight away. And I think I've been very positive regarding Falcao, and part of me still thinks he'll come good for United. But as Steve was saying, Shaun was saying, sorry, Tom was saying, sorry, in fact, he's not getting the service, and with a striker, you need the service. It happens every day, whether it be Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two. If you're a striker, you need service. As simple as that, and he's just not getting it. And regarding that chance today, he should have taken it with his left foot and he should have put it around the West Ham keeper. But I would have put my house on him scoring that one. It was so close, but who knows?
Who knows? At the moment, George, your own opinion, is he worth taking at the end of the season?
Right now, no. But part of me thinks that will change, and as I said, I think part of me thinks he'll come good. So ask me again in a few weeks' time and it might be a different story.
Well, do you know what? Part of me thinks the same. Maybe it needs these tough games, the spark you get from big matches, and we have got every week a big match throughout the next couple of months at the end of February. It's going to be mad when it goes to March and April. Steve, obviously we've singled out a few players there who didn't have a great game today. However, I mean, me and you, I think, both agree on one thing, and that's that we haven't played well for ages. We could go back to the Fergie era towards the end of him, the genius manager he was. We still weren't playing well. But in terms of recent form, a lot of people lost one game in 17. It's deeper than that, isn't it? It's deeper than not losing a game. We're not playing. What's our identity? What's our philosophy? I mean, what is our problem? That's the underlying question.
Yeah, the loss of 1 in 17. I mean, it looks half decent. There's quite a lot of draws in there. The problem is, I've been saying for absolutely ages, every time I've been on here, since November, we've had one game a week, pretty much. You know what I mean? And it was Van Gaal at the start of the season. Like I said, I thought he had a tough job, mate. He's come in late from the World Cup. He hadn't had much time in America. That was chaos. Come back and he went out and spent the money on positions that he thought and what we all know that needed sorting out. But time on a training match, there was even rumours that we were going to be playing friendlies in the United Arab Emirates after Christmas, and there was talk Van Gaal was saying to Woodward, no, I want a time on a training pitch. Now with no Europe, it was meant to be a positive after November, and mate, the performances just have not been there, and we keep saying they'll come. Now, how many games are left in the league now? 13, 14? They've got to start coming soon, mate. I think at home, I honestly think we'll be all right, mate. I honestly think we'll be all right, but away from home, mate, we've got Chelsea, we've got Liverpool away. I mean, they're going to be tough when they come up, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, for me, the most disappointing thing is, mate, it's the performances. We like I say, we went out and signed the players. There's no fluidity when we play. It just seems mismatched, and everyone's got to play. And like I was saying before we come on, mate, I I swear most fans are just screaming Herrera in their sleep. Because out the midfielders we bought, minus Blind, who I think is being quality for us, Herrera is one of them. He's just got the lot. He's got a quality range of passing. He'll come short. He rushes. He gets going, and you know what I mean. His link-up play is quality, mate. And I think link-up's exactly what we're the service, mate. I'm not making excuses for Falcao. I'm not making excuses for Van Persie. I love watching him, mate. But I'm just saying facts, mate. The service has been a joke. Yeah, Falcao missed one chance today, but then our fans want to turn her back on him. It's madness, mate. It is madness. We didn't spend any. We spent 27 million on Fellaini last summer, and the fans were going, "Oh, we haven't spent any money." And then we spend 150 million this year, sign some quality players, and then now they're going, "Oh, well, he's a waste of money, and Monaco can have him back." You can't have everything, mate. If you asked every United fan at the start of the season, right, everyone was slagging Welbeck off last season, can't finish. Everyone keeps bringing up the Munich miss, right? He scored in the first 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Got disallowed. People don't bring up that. They think, oh, he's going to lob Noah, sell him. And every single United fan would have bit your hand off for Falcao to sell Welbeck. And then now they're just going, no, get rid of him, mate. It's fickle, mate. That's the word I'll use. It's horrible, mate. You've got to look at the bigger picture. Stop just looking at he scored 4 in 16 or he's only got 3 assists. These people, mate, who look up at just stats and try and figure out how the game went, they're morons, mate. They're morons.
It's difficult.
No other word for it.
It is difficult because it is quite fickle. And then again, you're also looking at it and you're like, well, poor performance after poor performance. Who's doing what wrong? I mean, Tom, we'll come to you with this. Obviously, Steve's not wrong. He's completely right. I mean, George isn't wrong. He's completely right. Shaun isn't wrong. He's completely right. But just a few things mentioned. The tactics are wrong. The positioning is wrong. You know, the players aren't creating enough. The passing is not good enough. The finishing of the chances isn't good enough. So it boils down to who do we blame? We have conversations. We have these chats every week about who we don't think played well, who we thought played well, what we thought the starting 11 should have been, who we thought should have played well. We have these discussions all the time. George has been on before. He's nodding his head. He knows we've done this before. Shaun knows we've had this conversation many times. Even with Steve, you know, he's starting to feel like a broken record. We have these conversations all the time.
Yeah.
We talk about what we blame, who we blame. But it comes down to either or. Is it the manager or is it the players?
In terms of that, I don't think it's either or. I mean, it's a collective. I mean, we've struggled, I think, as a club collectively with, you know, people talk about philosophy, identity, whatever sort of word you want to put on it. Since Ferguson's left, I mean, even before Ferguson left, to the extent where the older players were nearing the end of their deals. I mean, Ferguson left, then Moyes came in, brought in his whole backroom staff. You know, he's telling people like Rio Ferdinand to copy Phil Jagielka's approach to the game, and then you've got his backroom staff going out, and then you've got Van Gaal coming in late in the summer. You've got his backroom staff coming in. So I mean, it's a club. I mean, people assume that the club is like settled now under Van Gaal. They assume that because we've got one game a week and maybe the odd cup game if we don't get knocked out by a lower league team, that we've got this settled philosophy and identity where all the players know. And to be honest, I mean, we've had some of our most integral players. You know, we've had Vidic, Evra, Ferdinand, Scholes. We've had all these players leave over the last 2-3 years. And, I mean, there's no one really to carry the legacy of the side through what it's supposed to be. And you've got managers coming in trying to imprint their own philosophy. So, I mean, I wouldn't blame necessarily the players or the manager because it's still a system. They're both very much working out together. You know, Mourinho came back into Chelsea. Everyone assumed he was going to walk the league. He didn't win the league in his first season. He's Jose Mourinho. He's won the title pretty much everywhere he's been. So, I mean, even when you've got a manager of Mourinho's caliber, it took him a season to build his team, get the likes of Matic in. Then he went out, brought Courtois back, got Costa in, Philippe Luis. He's built a title-winning squad. Whereas, you know, Van Gaal, he spent the money, but he still hasn't built that squad. Far from it. He's built half a team that is playing like half a team at the moment.
So is he the person we blame? This is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I can open this up to
yeah.
the whole of the panel. I mean, the fact of the matter is if the players aren't playing, the players aren't playing well. We could all be fickle. We could all turn around and go, Rooney played shit today. Oh, look, De Gea letting a goal is not world class. Oh, look, Jones slipped, so he's poor. You know, we can all make judgments on the things players do, but when players play so badly as a collective, as a team, for so long,
I mean, it is. I know the point you're trying to make, but going very quickly off topic here. So, like, you look at the NHS or you look at the education system. People are always looking for people to blame, and it's such a big system. The chaos is just institutional, and United is such a big, it's an institution from top to bottom. You've got Woodward, the manager, the players, the trainers, the fans, the staff. There's blame to be attributed everywhere, but everyone's busy pointing the finger somewhere else. I mean, the fans want someone to blame, but the blame is just everywhere at the moment.
I suppose so, but then first and foremost, we're a football club. We're a football team which plays week in, week out. And as I said, I'm going to open this to the rest of the panel now. Obviously, we'll have our own views, so it's up to you guys. Feel free to butt in when you want to butt in. But instead of going to one of you in particular, just feel free to answer it. Louis van Gaal is our manager. Louis van Gaal is a man who is on that training pitch every week. He is teaching these players to play like we played today against West Ham. Is he not? What is he doing? If the players aren't playing so badly and Falcao needs a service, why aren't we training with that? Why aren't we making that happen? It's been 17 games now in a run. And I think since we started this run against Newcastle, we played well that game, and we played crap since. So let's be honest with ourselves. We've not played as good since then. And we say that our defence needs to improve. Jones needs to improve. Valencia needs to improve. The passing needs to improve. After QPR was like, the passing was atrocious. It has to improve. Who can we start blaming? Is it time to take the blame away from the players? Is it time to jump on a managerial bandwagon? I think we all know Louis van Gaal's a quality manager and he will come good. But could this in the long run affect us more than we're thinking right now? I mean, George, let's come over to you. I mean, what do you make of all this at the moment?
It's one big, horrible blur, literally, our season. I mean,
you don't know who to blame, do you?
That's the thing. You don't. That's the problem. 1 week people are blaming the manager, the next week people are blaming the likes of like Di Maria and Falcao and so on. But I think it's half the time when United get criticism, we don't often deserve the amount that we get. It's like today. It is so frustrating that we didn't come away with the 3 points. But I can guarantee, United will be in the papers all week just because we didn't win. But if that was anyone else, it would be swept under the carpet and they'd move on. So, who do you blame? It is a big, big topic, and it's one that is very, very undecided amongst pretty much everyone.
Have you decided?
No, not really. I haven't, because as I said, it's just so difficult to call. It really is. You've got the manager that's writing down notes on his notepad. And which I'd love to know what he writes down, because whatever he's writing down obviously isn't clicking. It's not working at the moment. So do you change it? Of course you do, surely. So what do you do?
I think he's writing down next week McNair, 93rd minute and 30 seconds. Shaun, where did your blame lie? The exact same question to you, mate. Where is your head at the moment on this? Are you still undecided?
Well, I know that tomorrow I'll pop down the corner shop. The guy that owns the shop, he's not a massive football fan, but he knows what's going on. I don't think he particularly supports anybody. I sort of walk in there or about to go in and think, oh, right, on goes the ABU head. I know all he's going to do is slag us off. And tomorrow it'll be 1-1 against West Ham. All those players on those thousands of pounds a week couldn't beat West Ham. So what about all these players on thousands and thousands of pounds a week? They've got. It's hard to blame an individual player. It is a team game. There's no individual in that team that can go out and play as 11 men. But let's not be stupid. Rooney on £300,000 a week. What has he done today to earn that £300,000 for this following week? What has Falcao done today to earn £250,000? What has blah 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 and XYZ done this today to earn that money? You could argue that Daley Blind has earned his money because he's scored us a goal and it's earned us a draw. But then you could argue that he should be doing more than that to earn an absolutely ridiculous amount of money, especially when you consider that, going off topic as Tom did, in the NHS we've got nurses slogging their guts out for minimal amount of money. Yet you've got these players going out on a pitch once a week earning £300,000. So should the players actually be doing a bit more? I mean, Steve said earlier on that Di Maria gets knocked over, he gets up, and that's a great attitude to have. I'd have an attitude like that for £250,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? We're talking a lot of money here. It's not peanuts. These players aren't. If United look around tomorrow and say, sorry, your contract's terminated, they're not going to the job centre the following day to sign on. They'll go and get another job elsewhere, another football club. Someone will snap them up. Is Falcao worth £43 million? No, but if Chelsea buy him next in the summer from Monaco, because we've turned it down, you can guarantee Falcao will start banging the goals in for him next season. But that's because he's got a team behind him that are playing as a team. Whereas we seem to have individuals out on that pitch that we are all blaming, not necessarily Steve so much, but we're all picking out the likes of Di Maria, Rooney, Falcao, RVP, and whoever, Phil Jones, Valencia, whoever we're picking out on whichever week it is, that they're not playing as a collective team. We're picking out an individual. Today, Manchester United played fucking gash. I'm sorry, the team themselves played absolutely shite today. Whether that was an individual player, of Falcao missing a one-on-one, whether that's Di Maria having one shot in the whole game, whether that's Rooney not playing a through ball to RVP, who was on the shoulder of the last defender on the edge of the box, that ball could have Rooney passed it backwards out to the wing. The service, there is no service forward. It is almost as if especially when we've got the ball around the edge of the area, we've been suffocated, we move the ball backwards, it goes back to our own half and we start again. This team, Manchester United, have to start playing as a team. We cannot keep looking at individual players and we can't just blame individuals. It's very easy to look around and say, oh, Di Maria was absolute shite today. But if he's not got the service around him, if he's not got the backup of the players, I said earlier on that Luke Shaw and Januzaj seem to be doing quite well today down that left-hand side. If they've got a bit of an understanding there, that Januzaj's got the ball, so Luke Shaw knows he's got to run on, and he'd be used as a decoy or a dummy or whatever, and fair enough. But we need the rest of the team to be following that philosophy as well. We can't just get the ball to Di Maria, or get the ball to Falcao, or let's get Wilson on, or let's get Fellaini on, and let's just kick the ball as long as we bloody well can and hope he gets his head on it. It's not United. That's not the way that Manchester United play. Manchester United play as a team.
We're not seeing it.
You talked about Mourinho there coming back in last season and everyone thinking he was going to win the league. They had a good season. He already had a team. When Fergie left, yes, he left us as champions. But we didn't have a team as such. We didn't have a team of champions. We had a team that was very quickly going to be broken up. How can we go from champions to seventh with just a manager change? Okay, I completely understand Moyes wasn't the manager for us. I don't think he should have ever got the job. What would have happened if LVG had got the job last summer instead of this summer just come up? Would we have had a season like we did with Moyes? Had Van Gaal taken over straight from Fergie? It's what ifs. But what if actually some of the blame for the team we've got now, as in the likes of Cleverley being a midfielder for Manchester United? All right, I know he's out on loan at Villa, but the likes that Anderson was still hanging around. He was a midfielder. What about if some of this does actually go back to the last season or two of Fergie? I know he finished his reign as champions. I know he's a genius. I know he was worth 20 points a season, just being Fergie. You'd have Fergie up on that today. If that was Fergie in the technical area, he'd have been on his feet yelling at the players. Van Haal's, just writing notes in his seat. You got Sam Allardyce sat a few feet away from him with his feet in the air with a great big grin on his face. If you've ever seen anything so bad on a Sunday afternoon, it made me feel sick.
Yeah.
And you got Van Gaal there with this look of shock and surprise on his face, writing notes in his book. I noticed just now someone in the comments box is saying about Giggs. What's Giggs doing? Well, Giggs can only do so much. He can't look around to Van Gaal and say, no, we don't play like that here. This is how we play at Manchester United. You'd like to think he's having some kind of input, but surely he's being a first-team coach and he's doing what Van Gaal's asking him to do. Giggs should be the manager. Yes, Giggs has got the United way in him. It's his club. But I don't even think Giggs would be it would be any different with Giggs.
It's funny though, Shaun. It's funny what you're saying.
Sorry?
It's funny what you're saying. I was just going to say, it's funny what you're saying, because King James 1101 says it's all on Van Gaal. If this was Moyes, we would be crucifying him.
Yes, to an extent, but then you say that. Last season was bloody awful. The stupid remarks like, we aspire to be like.
What's the difference between this season and last season, apart from the teams around us are playing shite? Seriously, what is different? Like, if you look at the teams around us and where they were last season, they're just playing shit. They really are. They really are.
Yeah, and Van Gaal's getting away with it because of his reputation. Moyes didn't have that reputation. But let's I'm not being funny, but Moyes had a lot of support. Yes, there were a lot of people saying that he had to go sort of around Christmas time, if not a little bit earlier. But he still had the majority of the support until March. Then it changed.
Yeah.
So perhaps in a month's time, the whole let's support LVG, whatever happens, may change in a month's time. We don't know what's going to come of the future, but when perhaps he's just, I've been told I've got to get 4th place this season, so let's get 4th place and be done with it and do what we need to get there. As opposed to, right, I've got to get 4th. If we get 2nd, well, hey.
Well, it is one of those. It's difficult, but we've got to move on anyway. I've got to move on to somebody else because otherwise we won't be able to fit anyone in. But I've got to agree. I mean, I'm going to say something here, Steve, which I don't think you'll agree with, and I doubt you will, because I am a massive United fan. No matter what anyone says, I'm a huge United fan. I didn't think Moyes was right for the job at first place. However, I supported Moyes because Moyes is part of the club, and I'll always support the club. I will support Van Gaal, even though I still don't think Louis Van Gaal should have got the United job. For me, he isn't a United manager through his just own pure arrogance on himself. I mean, his mind is his mind, not the United mind. And sometimes when you go to big clubs, you've got to have the club on your mind. For me, I mean, hearing from Shaun then, he thinks the players need to take some blame. Looking at the chat box, before we do come over to you, Ross Fraser says Louis Van Gaal always says philosophy. I didn't realise his philosophy is inconsistency and sketchy tactics. Lionsdale one says Louis Van Gaal is a joke. Top Gamer says Louis Van Gaal has been horrible so far. Linksync says I care about performances more than the results. King James also goes on to say Van Gaal is going well. Fergie would have been on the touchline putting the fear of God in them. Now, different managers have different styles. For me personally, the way this is going, Steve, I can't support it. It's getting to the point where if we go the next few months playing like we are at the moment, and we had this conversation a few weeks ago, we won't get top 4, mate. It's simple. We will not get top 4. If we play like we have done, Liverpool will smash us at Anfield because they are getting better at the moment. Whether we like to say it or not, they're playing better than they did when they were at Old Trafford. City will smash us at home, and it'd be like the game which Fletcher scored that beauty in, which was just, I'm not even going to say the scoreline. And Arsenal will have fun with us and all. It's just, I don't know what he's doing, Steve. It's getting to the point I don't know what he's doing. Can you sum it up?
You're right, mate. I do disagree. Yeah.
Go on, go for it. I mean, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Right,
I don't get how we're
I'll start off with a blame. Listen, Louis van Gaal's got to take a little bit of criticism. I said it a couple of weeks ago. He's trying to fit too many players in, and the performances, it isn't working, mate. But I said it again a couple of weeks ago. You've got to start looking at the players, mate. When they're not doing basics, when you can't control the ball and find your teammate. Listen, Shaun bought up the money. Right, when you're a Premier League player, a Manchester United player, basics should just be in your head, mate. You know what I mean? And when we're struggling to control the ball or find forward passes, you know what I mean? It's not right, mate. Van Gaal can't control that. Whether these are bottling it on the pitch or not. Now, I think Tom brought it up brilliantly with all the guys that left, Vidic, Evra, Rio. I said it was a mistake last season, mate. And who have we got to blame for that? David Moyes. The fact that even the media, it makes me laugh, mate, with David Moyes versus Louis van Gaal. David Moyes lost the job because he got too comfortable. He didn't look arsed, mate, after about February. Now, I agree with in a little bit that Van Gaal's living off his reputation, and his reputation's pretty unbelievable. Now, when he comes into a press conference, he has the media scared. David Moyes didn't. It was a free-for-all with David Moyes. Now, when we had pre-match interviews, David Moyes bottled it. Didn't give Man United fans confidence. He didn't even have confidence in himself, mate. The board didn't want him in the end. You know what I mean? Now, with David Moyes, he did have the backing of United fans, mate, till February. But like I say, he wasn't arsed. He was standing after the game saying, I've got owners who believe in me. I've left a club that believed in me and give me time. Give me time. David Moyes, all he had to do was take Champions to fourth. To fourth. That was it. I wasn't expecting us to win the league last season. I wasn't expecting us to win the Champions League because he hadn't competed in there. It would have been nice for a cup run. The guy couldn't manage to do that, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, Van Gaal, I said this season's been lucky in his draws. You know what I mean? He's probably worth the contract alone and his luck. You know what I mean? But nah, for me, mate, David Moyes and LVG, I think it's going down the wrong aisle. Van Gaal's going to get some criticism, mate. I'm with you. It hasn't been brilliant, but I'm behind him 100%, mate. And was he the right man for the job? I can't think of anyone else, mate, who'd come in. Mourinho, we were saying for ages, I knew Mourinho wouldn't get the job at the club. Not as long as Bobby Charlton was on the board. It was never going to happen. Never going to happen. Van Gaal's one of these who comes in and he's ruthless. And we've lacked that for so long. Ferguson was ruthless. But I think he lost a little bit of that at the end. I think he lost some of that ruthlessness, mate.
I've got to say, I do agree. My whole thing with Louis van Gaal is week in, week in, out, I am seeing more negatives with him than I am positives. With the performances going as they are at the moment, there's no positives there. And I mean, George, we were having a chat, weren't we, before the show tonight? I mean, I do not know any Premier League manager who would. Fair enough, Shaw got red carded, but so what? It was a 92nd minute. Shaw got red carded. So what you do, you stick Blin left back and you just let the number 10s go. You just let the number 10s go, and you let Fellaini, you get him on the last man, you get Van Persie on the last man, and you get Falcao on the last man. You match them man for man in their defence, don't you? That's what you do. It was 93 minutes and 30 seconds. Van Gaal stood up, and he brought Smalling on for Falcao. He brought Smalling on for Falcao.
It don't make sense. I don't understand. I didn't get it. It was one of the most bizarre changes that I've probably ever seen, and I didn't understand it. I don't know why. I mean, you know, the United of old, you know, no matter how, even if it was the 93rd minute, 94th minute, we got an equaliser, you know, we would go for that winner. Simple as that. So, you know, you don't bring on a defender and stick him wherever you want and bring off a striker when you need a goal. So, you know, I'm 100% agreeing with Steve there. I'm 100%, you know, agreeing with Steve. You know, I will back Louis van Gaal, whatever. But the fact that he's done that sort of substitution today makes me sort of think, well, was he just playing for the point and settling for that? Was he, you know, was he not bothered about if he got the winner? You know, did he just want to settle for the point?
it just makes you question everything, doesn't it? It makes no sense. This is a problem. Little bits and pieces are making no sense whatsoever. That substitution summed it up for me, because I think, as we all said about Fergie, he would have been on that touchline on the 95th minute, even if the game went on that long, pushing his team forward, knowing that the full-time whistle was coming in 2 seconds' time. He would have been doing that. He wouldn't have bought on Smalling. And by the looks of it as well, which annoyed me even more, he bought on Smalling and put him straight into the back, into a back three, and went for a 5-3-2 or whatever he goes for, whatever that formation is now. I mean, it's Tom, that substitution was beyond ridiculous, wasn't it? No matter how late in the game it was.
I mean, it was one of those. It's tough, because I would have liked to see, United. It's really tough, actually, because, I mean, the substitution, talking about it now, I would have preferred to see the substitutions before, like I think most of the other guys. I mean, with 15 minutes to go, it's so frustrating to see us with the likes of Herrera and Wilson and Mata just, not doing anything, just sitting on the bench waiting. And, using Fellaini. Fellaini, I've spoken about him on the show a fair few times, that I don't think he's necessarily going to be a world beater at United. I don't think anyone thinks that, but he's a great option from the bench to vary the game up. Like we were talking about having the strange like chaos factor. You can bring him off, and he's pretty much going to change the game. Whether it's good or bad or not, you don't know. But I mean, that substitution for Smalling, I'm not going to criticise Van Gaal too much for that, because, I mean, it was the 93rd minute. You don't want to work hard for an equaliser, get a man sent off, and then see it disappear, from one long ball that manages to get through. Because West Ham are a good team. I think he would have taken a point, obviously, after the equaliser, he would have taken a point, but especially down to 10 men. It's tough to criticise him for that substitution, but what I would criticise him for would be for not necessarily changing up when he's got a lot of players on the bench who arguably should be getting a game when the others on the pitch aren't.
Tom, if West Ham had a free kick, I would have agreed. De Gea had the ball on his 6-yard line on the 93rd minute. Louis van Gaal stopped him from taking the goal kick just to make the substitution. And just because I don't think Lionsdale or a couple of people in the chat box are getting what I'm trying to say. Basically, what I'm trying to say is De Gea had the ball on the 6-yard line. Blind could have slotted into left back, and we could have just left the team as it was and let De Gea push everyone forward, kick the ball up, and go to try and get a flick on, go to get a final chance.
I understand what you're saying there, but at the same time, I mean, if we send everyone up in the last minute and we haven't got the capacity on the wing, Blind dropping out of midfield, that's another body out, then you'd have to bring Fellaini out. So if we send it forward once, West Ham head it out, they put it forward again, and, they're through on goal and they get a goal, people would be saying, why have we gone for it in the last minute with 10 men? I mean, it's difficult, because it's an argument about the United philosophy again. Do you go for a win at the end regardless? But I mean,
that's always been the United way. I mean, you can say they're shut up shop, but then we'd be doing what Mourinho does on the 47th minute if he's 1-0 up and sticking on Ramirez.
Yeah. But he is. I mean, Chelsea are top of the league.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. They are seeing out games, but for me, the 93rd minute to stick on Small, it's just a little bit suspect for me. I didn't get it at all. But obviously, everyone has their own opinion. Shaun, just quickly, just to end up on this, because we've literally done an hour on West Ham alone. We've still got to preview Burnley. Just quickly on this, just a quick one on Marcus Rojo. Him and Daley Blind, for me, alongside De Gea, are just storming the top 3 category for player of the season. What did you make of Rojo's performance today?
Yeah, I thought Rojo played well today. I haven't picked a man of the match today because I couldn't really find one out of any of them today. I mean, De Gea had a good game. Rojo, yes, had a good game. Blind, I don't know. Blind seemed to be missing for a large part of today, but then he popped up with that crucial goal at the end. So a lot of people would. When United put their man of the match thing up, a lot of people would just vote for Blind because he scored the goal. But yeah, De Gea, I think De Gea would probably pick up the award like he did last season, to be quite honest. I think he has been our best consistent player all season. In terms of outfield, Rojo has. I like the look of Rojo. I said last week that before he signed for us, I'd not really seen him before. I was like a lot of fans, were a little bit sceptical when we signed him, especially for the fee. You know, what was it, 14 million? It was 14 or 16. But for that sort of fee, what are we actually getting in today's game? You know, that's the sort of money that perhaps Everton would spend on a player, or Newcastle, not United. United go out and we either bring them up from the youth squad, or we go out and we buy a world class player along the lines of Van Persie or Di Maria and spend 60 million on them and pay them shitloads of money every week.
Done well with Rojo, that's for sure. I've got to say we have done well with Rojo. Steve, just quickly come over to you on Rojo. We just need a Ferdinand to partner him now, don't we? And then we'll be solid at the back. No more complaints. Oh, Steve, you there? Oh, looks like we've momentarily lost Steve, which is quite annoying. Well, let's bring it over to you, George. That's all Rojo needs now. He just needs a Rio Ferdinand, doesn't he?
Of course he does. I think that debate is already up there for the summer transfer targets. Mentioned in one of my previous videos that, you know, Daley Blind and Rojo have been by far the best players of the summer, and I don't think too many people would disagree with based on current performances. But who can partner Rojo at centre back? Who would it be? You know, we all thought it'd be that Dragovic fella in January. Nothing materialised from that. Obviously, the likes of Hummels are still being linked, but people are sort of debating who can partner Rojo at the back, and it's another one of these unbelievable debates that I'm sure we're going to be talking about throughout the weeks to come.
Yeah, and hopefully he can play a big part in the Burnley game. Tom, let's come over to you. We need to really blast through this now. We've been there for nearly an hour. What can we expect from Burnley? Who should we be watching out for in particular?
I mean, over the last few weeks they've improved their form. They looked like surefire candidates for relegation at the start of the season because they didn't really seem to have anything. But today they got a good draw. I mean, West Brom fought back against them to draw 2-2. But Ings is obviously a massive threat. They've got a lot of good, decent players, and importantly, they play as a team. So I mean, you're looking at the likes of Danny Ings. He's going to be their main threat. They provide good service to him. I mean, Boyd is a threat. They've got a lot of options. We should be beating them at home, really, but it's going to be a game where United are going to have to be strong from the off because Burnley are going to defend strong and look to attack down the flanks, look to provide Ings with service. So I think if we go at them from the off, I think we can be confident of victory, but we can't sit back and play the same possession football that we've been doing the last few weeks because otherwise Burnley will get comfortable and then break on us.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, it's good to see you back, mate. I mean, it could get frustrating against Burnley, couldn't it, if it carries on like we've been today?
Yeah, it can, mate. I watched them against West Brom today, and I didn't think they were too bad, to be honest. I think our tactics stopped Danny Ings, and we should be beating Burnley at home, mate. You know what I mean? I know we're being poor, but I think at home we do tend to do a lot better. The Southampton game, I come in here and I wasn't happy because we were shite. But mate, I'd back us to beat Burnley, mate. That was poor today, but we're at Old Trafford, mate. It's different when you're at home. Fancies against most sides there this season, mate.
Yeah, you got to at home. You got to fancy, especially with the Old Trafford roll behind you. You've got to fancy yourselves, and I mean, for any club, they should be scared of coming to us once again. Well, fingers crossed. Shaun, really, in terms of the team today, we've already said we couldn't argue with it. So really, maybe Herrera for Januzaj. We just want more of the same consistency in the lineup, don't we?
I wouldn't be surprised if we went back to 3-5-2, to be quite honest. I can see him going to 3 at the back and using Young as a wing back, because obviously we'll be missing Shaw.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, do you reckon Shaw's going to be much of a miss?
Unless he does similar to what he done midweek and use Rojo as a left back.
I wouldn't see Rojo taken out of position.
What we don't need is Blind being put as a left back. We need him in midfield. If we put Blind into defence, then we've got no midfield whatsoever unless he actually plays Herrera. But then we are back again. Herrera. Like Steve says, we're all going to be saying his name in our sleep before long.
Do you know what? I reckon we should just record ourselves next week. I'll record this show, and then next week we'll see how many words we say the same. We'll play United View Bingo next week. Make sure you join us from 10 o'clock Sunday night. I mean, seriously, it is ridiculous. George, let's come over to you. I mean, obviously we need to hopefully see Rojo stay in the same place. It would just be a straight swap for Young and Herrera in for Januzaj if we had to pick our dream teams, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Obviously, as Shaun said, obviously we're missing Shaun now, so hopefully Youngie will get a start, and hopefully Rojo will stay in the same position.
Yeah, and
mate. Oh, hopefully Youngie will get a start. Bloody hell, we weren't saying that a year ago.
He's a transformed man. He's been transformed.
He is, isn't he? I mean, he's just played. He played so well before his injury. We can only hope he starts playing well again. Quickly, George, do you reckon Shaw will be much of a miss, or if we get the old Young, will we be all right?
Yeah, look, that's another debate. Another one that we can always talk about. But Youngie has been, before that injury, he was absolutely fantastic. So providing it's that Youngie that turns up, we're in for a right treat because Rojo can stay in the same position, and we're laughing. But hopefully, Shaw won't be too missed, I don't think, just for a game or so.
Yeah, and it is only a one-game ban as well. Just quickly, just had a tweet sent to me. Mendes, as he always is around this time of the year for some reason, is currently in interview on Cadena Ser, which is a Spanish sports radio station, and he's also announced that he is in negotiations with United on the contract renewal of David De Gea, with some news expected soon. So, please. Good performance against Burnley, De Gea contract, and a win at Preston. That'd be fine. I'll be happy with that. Tom, looking forward to Burnley. I mean, instead of today's performance, really we need to make sure we keep making chances. Would you bring Mata straight back into the team, or would you keep more of the same with Herrera?
I mean, I'd be inclined to go with that, yeah. Bring Herrera in. I mean, we need that fluidity of the play that he brings, and importantly, he's shown this season that he's one of the few options. We've been starved of that potential in midfield for people to get forward and create and score, and that's what Herrera can do. He can offer a goal threat, and that also opens up space for the likes of Falcao and Van Persie because they can make runs while the centre-backs have to meet people like Herrera. I mean, we should be attacking from the off. I mean, I'd be inclined maybe to see Falcao dropped and Rooney put up front, and then there's a space for Herrera that opens up right there. But from the way that Van Gaal's talking about it, it doesn't look like he's going to put Rooney back up front anytime soon because he obviously wants this experiment to work. Whether it's working or not is completely up for debate. But I think we're going to see Rooney in midfield again. I'd like to see Herrera in though.
Yeah, definitely. And if we could get Rooney, Herrera, Mata, Di Maria, Falcao, all in the same team, we'd be laughing, wouldn't we? Steve, obviously getting that mixture's hard, and after the game today, we get frustrated, we have our rants, we fall out, we fall in love again, we chat a load of rubbish, we chat what we believe, all this and that. Utmost and obviously the biggest thing is to come back from a performance like today, isn't it? And we need to do that against Burnley.
Yeah, of course you do, mate. You need bounce back from. It's a disappointing result. It's not a massive disaster. It's not a defeat. But United are all about bouncing back, mate. And there's no better time than in the week. Burnley at home. Like I say, we've been starved of games at Old Trafford, mate, all season. Obviously, we had Cambridge last week. You could so bad a turnout, mate. There wasn't that many arse that we had Cambridge. Yeah, Preston, like you say, I think that's next Monday. A cup run would do us a bit of confidence as well, mate. And like you say, what the boys are saying there, players need to get dropped and brought in. That's going to be a good time for that. Some of these players need dropped, mate.
Yeah.
Mata, Herrera, they're sitting on the bench. The good players. I don't think Mata would have made much difference today, mate. I love Juan Mata. I think he's brilliant. But away from home, he has struggled. For what reason? Again, I think you probably could say the system. But yeah, some of these boys needs playing. Like you touched on it there. I think Van Gaal got the side. I'd say bang on. The only change I'd have made really is, like I say, we keep saying Herrera. I thought Januzaj was a lucky boy to start again today, mate, because I don't think he's done anything in most of the games he's done this season. So whatever side he picks at home, mate, it'll be backed. It should do the job against Burnley.
Do you know what? If Herrera doesn't start against Burnley on Friday night's preview show, the next Friday we're going to do another preview show ahead of the Preston game. We are actually going to play a game and see how many times we mention Ander Herrera on this show, because this show could be renamed Herrera's Loving Central. It really could. We keep going. He just needs to play, doesn't he? Shaun, an early goal will help the nerves against Burnley, won't it?
Just on that, just a side note to that, what you're saying about Herrera. We keep saying Herrera needs to play. But then we also keep saying that Llano needs to play. Yet when he does play, we say, why was he playing? But yeah, no, an early goal against Burnley would be absolutely fantastic. But then we saw last time against Leicester, we had 3 goals in the first half. You know, I know it took 25 minutes or so to get the first one. 3 goals in the first half, and then we just went to sleep and let Leicester play for the second half. It was, you know, it's. Today we needed West Ham to score that goal for us to wake up. Could we almost say we could do with Burnley getting an early goal, and then we've got something to play against? You see where I'm going with that? I want a clean sheet, obviously, but if it's a goal for the away team at Old Trafford for us to actually wake up and play to our full potential, then so be it.
Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from. We do though, don't we, George? We need to score first, and hopefully a Falcao goal will do everybody the world of confidence.
Yeah, of course. You know, the early goal will always settle the nerves. Obviously, you know that's just common sense in that. But you know, we all want Falcao to succeed and to score. But to be honest, I couldn't care less who scores nowadays. You know, providing we get these results and providing we get these goals, I'm absolutely cool with that.
Yeah, and of course, talking about goals, talking about goal scorers, we have in mind our own team, so this is where we put our necks on the line. You all know me, George, Shaun, Steve, Tom. We're respected sports journalists. We come on this show, we know what we're talking about, and we have to give predictions and stuff like this now and then. So we're going to do our predictions for the Burnley game and probably get them completely wrong. Let's come to you first, shall we, George, while we're on your topic. What would you reckon the scoreline's going to be and goal scorers? Comment by tweeting at the United Views, subscribe and comment in the comment box. We'll come over to your predictions in a minute. First of all, panel, George, what are you saying?
I'm going 4-0. I'm
Wow.
going for a 4-0. Yeah, I'm calling it. I'm going to go 4-0. We need a decent result. We need something to lift up the Old Trafford crowd massively, and you know what a better time to do it. And I'm going to go for goal scorers. I'm actually going to go Rojo, 2 from Van Persie, and 1 from Januzaj if he starts.
Okay, fair enough. Shaun, what do you reckon?
If Fergie was the manager, I would be going along the same lines as George, to be quite honest, because after a dire performance like we had today, when Fergie was manager, the next game, whoever came to Old Trafford got a bloody hiding because Fergie put the fear of God into him. Yet today, when Falcao went off for that substitution with Smalling in the 93rd minute, Van Gaal high-fived him. How's that sort of... Yeah, you played well today. No, you didn't. You bloody missed a sitter in front of goal. Anyway, I'll just go for a 1-0. I don't care who scores own goal, off a backside, whatever. I don't care. Just
there we go.
Let's have a game where we keep the possession, like Van Gaal wants, 70-odd% possession, but let's keep the ball. Let's actually pass it to our own players forward. Have a nice, not a beautiful performance. It doesn't have to be, fantastic, but let's just have a good performance where we keep the possession like he wants, and we score a goal. We have a clean sheet. Yeah, 1-0. I don't care how the goal's scored.
There we go. Fair enough. Tweet us at the United View. Comment in the comment box quickly. We'll come to your predictions. Assad 2-0 United, RVP and Herrera. Make sure you put goal scorers with your scoreline too as well. James Gilmore just said 3-0. Fred Jones says RVP to score. So is that a 1-0? And hello to Gregory also says a 3-0 in there. Scoreline and goal scorers, please, guys. Steve, what are you looking towards? You had a big weird look on your face when you heard George's 4-0. Bit of more of a smile on Shaun's 1. You in between?
Nah, listen, mate. George has got some balls, mate, after that performance, 4-0. Respect to him, you know what I mean?
I'm calling it, mate.
Respect, mate. That's it. I'm going to go 2-1, mate. I think Burnley, they've definitely improved. We went there, was it second or third game in? I think Di Maria's debut was against them, and that was a proper drab 0-0. I think we're a bit better at home. I'm just going to go 2-1, mate. I'm with Shaun. I don't care if it goes in off someone's ball bag. Ear couldn't care, mate. 2-1, get the points.
Can I just quickly get a reaction from you, please, Steve? I'm just reading a quote from Januzaj's after-match interview, and after some words off air, I just want to hear what you think about this, right? Januzaj said, and I quote, "I'm enjoying playing a lot. I'm coming back to my best, so I'm happy to have some games in my legs." It's just a shake of the head. There's nothing. He's keeping his lips sealed. He's just shaking his head.
Right,
if you could do
right,
this.
You've got me going again. Listen, Januzaj, some of this hype on Twitter is just unbelievable. I went to the Leicester game when we had him last week, and I was in the car on the way back, and it was I think I put out Blind was a joy to watch, and Di Maria looked a lot better. I think I put, because he was in a free role and he was running, he was doing a lot. And then the reaction was, "Oh, Januzaj looked quality today. Di Maria was shite." And it just seems to be the same all the time. It's just excuse after excuse for Januzaj. Listen, the boy's 20. I'm not going after him. I think he's a talented kid. But some of the hype some of our fans put on him, mate, it's a joke. Yeah, United have backed him, giving him the 11 shirt. Has he repaid us a season? I'm going to be honest, mate. I don't think he's done shite. He's done nothing all season, mate. Listen, he outperformed our worst side in 30 years. We finished 7th. Go through the side last season, mate. Who performed? Yeah, David Moyes was shite, but the players didn't perform last season. Rio, Vidic, Evra, Smalling, Jones, Rooney, Van Persie was managed wrong. Mata, when he come in, was out of position. Listen, he bought his best mate Fellaini and didn't even want to play him where he bought him for. Everyone played terrible, mate. Januzaj was the only player last season who tried and take someone on, and we clung on to it. He's done nothing, mate. I tweeted during the game, and I'll stand by it. Belgium must be full of cul-de-sacs, because that's all Januzaj runs into, mate. And I'll leave it at that.
Cheers, Steve. I appreciate that. I knew I'd get something out of that. I seem to just be able to push all the right buttons for Steve. I find them somewhere and they hit him. Tom, let's come over to you. Scoreline and goal scorers for the Burnley game, please.
I'll go. I'm confident. I'll go 3-0. I think Mata, Herrera, Van Persie.
Now, I'm in two minds here. I am in two minds. I want to say a massive scoreline just to get the face from Steve that George got from him, and I want to say Januzaj to score just so I get that face not once but twice. But I am going to go with a 2-0. I'm going to go comfortable but nervy. I'm going to go with an early Robin van Persie, and I'm going to go with a man who needs a goal. And that's Radamel Falcao. I'm going to go for a 50th minute and we'll just see it out at 2-0. Whatever, we'll have it. And that's it for tonight's show. I will say that there will be something up this week or more news about what we're going to be doing with the David De Gea photo. It's signed and you could win it, but we're still sorting out competition regs and we're still sorting out a few different bits and pieces to make it not just easier for you to win, but to make it also a better prize. So we'll have more information on that this week. And also on top of that, thank you for subscribing. Now over 1,030 subscribers. Thank you so much. And also thank you to George for coming on the show this evening. Where can we find you, mate?
Guys, you can all find me at GE07GE10. My match reactions on my channel, and just scroll through my tweets from a couple of hours ago and you can have a little watch on there.
Yeah, go watch it because I need to, so I'll go and do that in a minute. Also, go and follow Shaun. Shaun, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you?
It's Shaun, that's SHAUN, MUFC20.
Cheers, mate. Steve, where can we find more of your ranting? Where are you online?
I'm at SGCW7, mate.
Sorry, mate. I'm evil to you, aren't I? I'm not a good friend at all. I click you off. I'm like a bad wife. Tom, where can we find you, mate?
I'm at Tom Joe Doyle.
We've all enjoyed tonight, haven't we? It's been fun. It's been nice to get a few bits off our chest, and it's also just been nice to have a last laugh and disagree and still be friends at the end of it. Now, obviously, as we end the show, normally we give a Common United. Now, I know Shaun's done a Common United. Steve's done a Common United. Do you know what? I'm going to give the Come On United tonight to George. George, in your finest voice, ahead of the Burnley game, as positive as you can be, George, let me get you Come On United.
Come on, United, lads!